Okay, so good morning and welcome to General Finance of May 17th. I first would like to begin up any identification of any media on the line.
Victoria Gray from the Turtle Island News, sorry.
No problem. Good morning, Victoria. Is there any representatives from the Truro Times? Okay, seeing or hearing none, I'll move in now to any changes, deletions, or additions to the agenda. Seeing none, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda of May 17th? Moved by Audrey, second by Michelle. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, motion's carried. We do have a delegation and presentation this morning from the Farmers Association on the White Corn Project. So good morning. Who is speaking this morning on behalf of the farmers?
Good morning. This is Jesse Porter, Ruby, and Art Porter.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, Jesse and others. Welcome. I'm going to just pass the floor right to yourselves, and we can begin your presentation.
Good morning. Once again, we're here looking at getting some assistance from the elected council on the initiative that we started a number of years ago on the white corn. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with it, but those who aren't, we have inputs that we normally occur every year with white corn seed, fertilizers, cultivation, those kind of things. This year, the costs have gone up on what we're doing based on the acres that we're putting in. The other is moving forward. I know that normally we try to have something in place a little sooner in the year, but because of what's going on, it is what it is. So we're here right now to move forward again with the white corn initiative. And is there any questions from anybody?
Thank you. Thank you for that, Jesse. I'll look to any questions or comments. I see Helen has her hand up.
25 acres.
You said cost was going up this year. How much is it going up?
Right now, we're looking at probably around $1,400 so far.
So, Jesse, I have a question. Last year, our community ran out of white corn. Everybody was in a panic because they couldn't make corn soup. What happened? That's
last year. Last year we had a difficult time with Mother Nature. Not every year Mother Nature's favorable. We have some losses.
So you couldn't plant as much corn? You couldn't plant as much corn, or didn't grow, or what happened?
Yeah, we grew the same amount, but we had some issues with the ground being wet, the season being late for corn, and our crop wasn't in good shape from Mother Nature.
You still planted as much as you usually do, right?
Yes. We actually replanted some also because of the situation. So we ended up planting a little bit more than we normally do last year. But the amount that we got wasn't we took some heavy losses early in the springtime, and it affected us in the fall.
Thank you, Jesse, for those responses. I believe Michelle had her hand up next.
Thanks, Jesse, for your presentation. And I will, my only question is, the farmers are not the only ones planting the corn, and I'm wondering how we can, make this a collective so we don't run out of corn. Something to think about. My other comment is, when do you start to plant, and should this be an ongoing thing, like we do this for, we set aside money. If it's $10,000 every year, it sounds like it's going up. so that the farmers know for the next 5 years or whatever that the 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 is set aside.
Okay, as far for your first question, there are other people that are doing it, that are planting, but they're not allowing the community to go in and pick from what they plant. I'm not sure what they're doing. But the other thing that I forgot to mention in the presentation, last year we got over an abundance of people that came to pick the white corn. So it was probably picked clean, I'm going to say, in the first 7 days. So when you look at the losses and the number of people that came out to pick some, it was good in a way that a lot of the community did come out, but it also shows a need to have it for the community. So the other thing is to try to work together with the other people that are growing white corn. We do share the equipment that we have for other people that are growing white corn, but we have no control over what they do with the corn.
Thanks. And I guess my last question then becomes is, do we have enough fields if we need to plant more? Because I think land is a huge issue in our community. So if it's not already being farmed, I don't know where else we could find land to plant more white corn, but it definitely is a need, as you said.
Well, this is something that this is something that we have to be proactive about in these discussions. So this year we have 25 acres that was prepared last fall. So every season we have to be prepared the fall ahead to be able to have the field, the ground ready for corn. So yeah, there is a need for more acres. There's no doubt about that, but we have to plan that. So in order to do that, we have to do what we're doing right now and look at, do we have the abilities to do it? We can get the land. There's not a problem there for us to grow the white corn, but it's being proactive and having these discussions to allocate funds ahead of time. It's hard for us to access the funds in July when we have to plant and incur costs in the spring or even the fall before.
Mark, it's Hazel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Jesse. I will move over now to Hazel. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking. Hazel, can you still hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry,
Okay, I
Hazel,
just
you have
wanna-
the floor.
Okay, thanks. I was just wondering if, due to the situation last year, because Mother Nature, you never know when. I'll give you a little bit. If it's possible for council to consider give more funds to grow more, because like you said, it was picked clean within the first. Is like, I know you can't join up with anybody because other people that are planting their corn, that's specifically for themselves or a project. Like last year we asked, and I know that Health and it's some, but I understand it was a project for themselves. So how be that from now on for the next 5 years that there'd be side for 15,000, and maybe you can grow more, that would probably give more of the residents a chance to pick some of the corn and some of the corn too. Thanks.
Here's a suggestion that the Farmers Association's been discussing, is the need to have white corn in storage, that we pick, we dry, we preserve it in storage in a bushel bags kind of thing, so that we do have white corn available to the community when it comes to that type of environment. We also would like to have seed available for not just us, but for other people in the community that want to go on and grow a few rows for themselves. This is the whole purpose of growing this white corn, was to be able to establish a way that we can work together to help the community sustain white corn in the community. So the idea of growing a few more acres even this year, we could definitely squeeze probably another 5 acres in to make it 30 acres. But we need an answer on the funds as soon as possible. So moving forward with what you're saying, Hazel, for us to be able to say at any given time, what do we have in storage for seed or bulk white corn to the community through this initiative would be a benefit to all of us. Not every year we have the availability of seed. We're depending on the year ahead or the year behind to have the seed available to us. So again, it's not just one thing here. There's a number of things going on where we always have to be proactive. So that's something that when we allocate funds for, we have to keep in mind, we have to be able to store seed. And all of the corn that we handle is food grade quality, so we have to be able to handle it accordingly. So these are things that we need to look at to be able to have this available for the community in the full capacity. So that means storage of the corn itself, planting, and then preparing for the following year. Those things are a constant circle that we have to keep in mind, that we need the funds available in early spring to make this a success.
Okay, thank you.
It's Melba.
Thank you, Jesse, for that. I'll now go over to Melba.
Yes, Jesse, if you were going to possibly increase your acreage to 30, so what would you be asking council for this year?
Well, right now, we're at around a $1,400 increase in cost so far this year. So if we take it up another 5 acres to get around 30 acres, we'd probably be looking around $15,000 this year.
Okay, thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse. Are there any further questions or comments for the farmers?
Mark, I'll
Michelle?
make a resolution for that.
So, Mark, can I move that we support the farmers this year and they come back with a plan for the next 5 years so that we can discuss this, so that we're not always reacting, and that they have enough land, and that this actually, what I would like to see is, if community members want seeds, that we should be able to provide that for community. So I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. There's a motion on the floor, moved by Michelle. Is there a seconder? Second by Sherry.
Mark, I have a question. It's Hazel.
Oh, my apologies. Sorry, Hazel. You're cutting in and out. Can you hear us still okay?
Yeah, I just want to, and I didn't understand Michelle's, when you come back with a plan, you mean for the following years, or is it?
Yeah.
I can't
sorry,
hear
Michelle.
her.
Sorry, you're having technical difficulties, but Hazel, but I believe to answer your question, it's a multi-year basically. So, we went from, we're not just coming back every year dealing with this issue. I believe Michelle's motion is that we look to the farmers for the following year to come back with a 5-year plan moving forward. Is there any further questions or comments?
Yeah, Chief.
Sure, go ahead, Kerry.
Did Michelle's motion have an amount to it? Because I think Jesse said that it was increased to $1,400 more. So would she add that to the 10 that we normally give them?
Yeah, I believe correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse, the total would be, this year would be $15,000?
Yes.
So I would
Is that
ask
okay
Anna
with the-
Cecile, are we able to do 15?
Looking to our CFO, Anna Cecile.
Yes, thank you. We can allocate some of the funds from, OFLP.
Okay, thank you, Anna Cecile. So that's included in the motion for $15,000 to support the Farmers White Corn Project Initiative for the year 2021-22, with again with a 5-year plan coming back for the following year to be presented. Is there any further questions or comments?
It's Melba. Yeah, that's for 30 acres, isn't it? Not 25.
Yes.
30 acres.
Yes.
Good ears, Melba. Good ears.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further questions or comments?
Yes, Darren, this is Art, Justice Dad. Mark. We've been. My dad started growing white corn for the community. I'm going on 82, and he's done it for many years. I grew up with this, and just never mentioned we had 6 acres of flint corn that was an excellent crop, and I seen as many as 8 cars in the field with families picking it. And I guess the picture's worth 1,000 words. I wish I could have had my camera with me and just to kind of give some accountability to what we're doing here. But we appreciate the help in it and supporting our community with this white corn. Other people growing it, but they're selling it for $150 a bushel. And they can come and get all they need every year. And we're ready to plant now. I got the groundwork. They put the fertilizer on this morning while you guys were still in bed. And I'm getting the planter ready to go, hopefully have it in this week. So we're moving ahead with it, and we do appreciate your help, and thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Art, for that as well. Are there any further questions or comments? Okay, seeing or hearing none, there's a motion that's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, motion's carried. Motion to waive second reading. Moved by Michelle, second by Sherry Lynn. All in favor? Any opposed?
Favor.
Seeing or hearing none, motion's carried. Okay, Jesse, Art, and others, again, just thank you for joining us this morning. And again, we'll look forward to supporting the White Corn Project again this year. And we'll look to next year on how we can come back with more of a 5-year plan to the overall initiative.
If anyone on the call here wants to have input into a 5-year plan as to how they see it working out, we'd be glad to hear from them. And also, how do we access the funds from today, our discussion today?
So we'll do our office, we'll do further follow-up with yourself, Jesse, and then we'll talk about that process in terms of how we get it to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care and have a good day. Stay safe.
Yep, you too. Bye.
Okay, Council, that leads us into our next agenda item, which is the ratification of our email poll in relation to gypsy moths. It was moved and seconded, which reads that the Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council approved to amend Resolution GF 476-04-1921 to read, whereas the Six Nations Forest and Wildlife Management has confirmed that gypsy moth infestation will be significant this year, therefore be it resolved that SNGREC approve and authorize the contracting of Zimmer Air Services Incorporated to work with Six Nations staff to communicate and deliver the gypsy moth spray program for 2021 at a total cost of $1,251,855,000. Source of funds will be from the OFNLP. So it was moved and seconded. Again, this is an email ratification. Are there any further questions or comments in relation to the motion? Helen.
Yeah, just clarify that money again, because you said 1,000 when it's a million.
1.251855 million. Yes.
Million, yeah. Just make sure some people don't get misunderstand.
Definitely. Thanks for that, Helen. Carrie.
Yeah, Chief, I think I got an email late last week saying they were going to be spraying this week, I guess. I see they called for rain on Wednesday, so it'll have to be likely after that. But a lot of the worms are out now. So I think it's
Thank you, Carrie. So,
I think we'll probably be notified with the wildlife officer to the exact times.
Okay, and just for that, just on that note as well, just a note for our communications, Candace, we'll have to get communication out to our community as soon as possible in terms of when we know all the details of routes and when we'll be expecting the airplane to be going over the territory or whichever the process. So again, we'll get that communication out as quickly as possible. Helen?
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. That before we used to always have a measure of time to get to the community that this is going to happen this month, but right now we're kind of running down right at the wire. So I would suggest using whatever we can to get the message out to people, even maybe put it on the radio 3-4 times a day, let people know what time that it's going to happen, because they need to know.
Definitely, and we'll work with.
Yeah, and what sections is getting done? I don't know if Carrie knows what sections are going to be doing, or they're going to just do the whole thing. Because normally,
yeah, well, it's going to be bad throughout the whole reserve. So I think they're gonna try to get everything, but I don't know. They have a number of planes, but I don't know which end they're starting at, and it's going to depend on the weather also. If it's windy, they can't do it. If it's wet, they can't do it. So they can have set time, but that can change like overnight.
Before, when they would do it, they would do sections one day and sections another day or a week. They didn't do the whole reserve at once, but maybe now because it's late, they have to.
Yeah, they just usually work their way right across.
Okay, thank you, Carrie and Helen. And so we will work with communications. Our office will make sure that we have all the details to get out to community, and we'll note your suggestions, Helen, in terms of exhausting all communication efforts. Are there any further questions or comments? Okay, seeing or hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, motion's carried. There's a motion that was already included as well in terms of waiving second reading. It was moved by Helen, second by Carrie for second reading. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, motion's carried. Okay, Council, that's all we have for the open session. Again, it was a small agenda for this general finance meeting. Sorry.
You didn't do the
Oh, my
minutes.
apologies. Thank you. Thank you for that, Beck. If we can just move back up to the adoption of the general finance minutes of May 3rd.
I'll move it, Sherlyn.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sherlyn. It's moved by Sherlyn, second by Carrie. Are there any questions or comments in relation to the minutes? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor?
Favor.
Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, motion's carried. Thank you for that, Becky. Okay, Council, that's all we have for our agenda. Again, for general finance, a short agenda this week, which means we'll probably have a bigger agenda for the next meeting. But that being said, is there a mover then now to adjourn? Moved by Audrey, second by Sherry Lynn. All in favor?
Favor.
Any opposed? Seeing or hearing none, motion's carried. Thank you to everyone for joining us this morning, and we'll see you next, I believe tomorrow, General Council. Take care and have a great day.